Tuesday morning, 9:30 a.m., Emma Rodriguez's law office. Emma Rodriguez had seen it all in her years as Ocean City's top attorney: divorce cases, fraud, even murder trials. But when her assistant Janet buzzed the intercom that morning, Emma had no idea she was about to take on the most shocking case of her career. "Emma, there's a young woman here to see you. She says it's urgent. Emma looked up from her case files, her coffee growing cold as she reviewed the Henderson merger documents. The morning sunlight streamed through her floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating the awards and certificates that lined her mahogany-paneled office walls. "Send her in." The door opened, and in walked a beautiful young woman with long dark hair, wearing oversized sunglasses despite being indoors. She moved carefully, as if every step caused pain. When she removed her sunglasses, Emma gasped. The girl's face was a canvas of fading bruises, yellowing around her left eye, a healing cut on her lower lip, and her left arm was secured in a professional medical cast. But there was something she didn't know. "My name is Zara Fontaine," the young woman said, her voice trembling but determined. "And I need your help, Miss Rodriguez. Someone very powerful tried to kill me, and I think they're going to try again." Emma gestured to the chair across from her desk, noting how Zara winced as she sat down. "Please, make yourself comfortable. Tell me what happened." Zara took a shaky breath. 3 weeks ago, I was in a car crash on Mulholland Drive. The police said it was an accident, that I lost control on a curve and went over the guardrail. But it wasn't an accident, Miss Rodriguez. Someone deliberately tried to murder me." Emma leaned forward, her lawyer instincts immediately kicking in. She'd heard desperate claims before, but something in Zara's eyes convinced her this was different. "That's a very serious accusation, Zara. Do you have any evidence to support this claim?" Zara reached into her purse with her good hand and pulled out a thick manila folder, placing it carefully on Emma's desk. "I have more than evidence, Miss Rodriguez. I have proof, and the man who tried to kill me is Elias Rothschild." Emma's blood ran cold. She set down her pen and stared at the young woman. Elias Rothschild was one of the most powerful real estate moguls on the West Coast, worth over $2 billion. He owned half of downtown Ocean City and had connections that reached into every level of government and law enforcement. "Zara, that's an incredibly serious allegation. Elias Rothschild is one of the most influential men in California. Are you absolutely certain about what you're saying?" "I know exactly who he is," Zara interrupted, her voice gaining strength. "He was my benefactor, my sugar daddy, if you want to call it that. We had an arrangement for 8 months, and when I tried to leave him for someone my own age, he decided I should die rather than be with anyone else." This is where everything changed. Emma opened the folder Zara had given her, her trained eye scanning the contents methodically. Inside were photographs, bank statements, printed text messages, phone records, and what appeared to be medical reports. As she read through the documents, Emma's shock and professional curiosity grew in equal measure. The first document was a bank statement from First National Bank of the Cayman Islands, showing a $500,000 transfer from one of Rothschild's shell companies, Pacific Holdings LLC, to an offshore account registered under the name D. Wolf Enterprises, dated just 3 days before Zara's crash. The second set of documents were screenshots of text messages from Rothschild's personal phone to Zara's number, becoming increasingly threatening as they progressed. "You belong to me, Zara. No one leaves Elias Rothschild and walks away unscathed. That boy means nothing. You'll realize your mistake soon enough. If I can't have you, no one can. Remember that. You'll regret this decision more than you know." But it was the final document that made Emma's hands shake. A police report about a man named Dante Wolf, arrested 2 weeks ago for an unrelated drug trafficking charge, who had reportedly confessed to being hired to eliminate a young woman by a wealthy client, though he had refused to name names without a plea deal. "Zara," Emma said slowly, looking up from the documents, "how did you get all this information? Some of these documents should be confidential police evidence." Zara smiled for the first time since entering the office, though it was tinged with sadness and exhaustion. "Detective Maria Watson from LAPD. She's been investigating my case off the books because her superiors told her to drop it. She believes me, but she says she needs more concrete evidence to arrest someone as powerful and connected as Rothschild. She suggested I hire the best criminal defense lawyer in the city, and you chose me?" Detective Watson said if anyone could take down a billionaire and make it stick, it would be Emma Rodriguez. She said you don't back down from powerful men, no matter how much money or influence they have. But the most shocking thing was, Emma spent the next hour listening to Zara's complete story, taking detailed notes as the young woman recounted a tale that sounded like something from a twisted fairy tale. Zara had grown up in a small town called Oak Ridge in Oregon, raised by a single mother who worked multiple jobs just to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. "I came to Los Angeles 3 years ago with $500 in my pocket and dreams of becoming an actress," Zara explained, her voice growing stronger as she spoke. "I was 19, naive, and had no idea how brutal this city could be. I waited tables, auditioned for everything, and slowly watched my savings disappear." Emma nodded, recognizing the familiar story of countless young dreamers who flocked to Hollywood each year. Financial desperation led me to the world of sugar dating, Zara continued, her cheeks flushing slightly. A friend told me about websites where young women could meet older, wealthy men who would provide financial support in exchange for companionship. At first, it seemed like a solution to my money problems. And that's how you met Rothschild? At a charity gala at the Beverly Hills Hotel 18 months ago. He seemed charming at first, sophisticated, worldly, genuinely interested in my dreams and ambitions. He told me he could help my career, introduce me to the right people in the entertainment industry. Zara's expression darkened as she continued. Within a week, he had given me the keys to a luxury apartment in West Hollywood, a credit card with no limit, and a new Mercedes. He took me to Paris, the Maldives, New York. I thought I was living in a fairy tale. But fairy tales don't usually involve attempted murder, Emma observed. The control started gradually, so subtly I didn't recognize it at first. He wanted to know where I was every moment of the day. He got jealous if I talked to other men, even waiters or store clerks. He started dictating my schedule, my friendships, even what I wore to events. Zara's voice cracked slightly as she continued. Then 2 months ago, I met Jasper at a coffee shop in West Hollywood. He's 22, a film student at UCLA. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe around a man. Jasper saw me as a person, not a possession or a project to be controlled. And when you tried to leave Rothschild for this young man, he went completely insane. The mask of charm and sophistication disappeared entirely. He screamed at me, called me ungrateful, said I was nothing without him. He threatened to destroy my career, said he'd make sure I never worked in this town again. When I told him I was leaving anyway, he grabbed my arm so hard that his fingerprints were bruised into my skin for weeks. Zara rolled up the sleeve of her jacket, showing Emma faded but still visible finger marks on her forearm. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. Emma's intercom buzzed, interrupting the intense conversation. Emma, Detective Watson is here to see you. She says it's about the Fontaine case. Perfect timing. Send her in. The office door opened and Detective Maria Watson entered, a sharp-eyed woman in her mid-40s with graying hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore a dark pantsuit and had the bearing of someone who had seen too much of humanity's dark side, but refused to become cynical about seeking justice. Miss Rodriguez, thank you for taking this case, Detective Watson said, shaking Emma's hand firmly. I've been investigating Rothschild for weeks, but his team of lawyers keeps blocking every move we try to make. Emma gestured for the detective to sit in the chair next to Zara. What evidence do you have, Detective? Detective Watson opened her worn leather briefcase and spread several files across Emma's desk. Cell phone tower records place Rothschild's personal phone near Mulholland Drive between 10:30 and 11:45 p.m. the night of Zara's crash, despite his alibi claiming he was at home in Malibu all evening. Financial records from his various shell companies show the $500,000 payment to an account controlled by Dante Wolfe. And we have surveillance footage from a gas station 2 miles from the crash site, showing Wolfe's black SUV at 11:15 p.m. that night. Detective Watson pulled out another file. But the key breakthrough came when Wolfe was arrested on unrelated drug charges 2 weeks ago. He's talking, trying to make a deal with the DA's office. He's admitted to the hit and run, but he won't testify against Rothschild without full immunity and witness protection. Emma studied the evidence spread before her, her mind already working through the legal challenges they would face. This is compelling circumstantial evidence, Detective, but you're right. Taking down someone with Rothschild's resources and connections will require ironclad proof. His lawyers will tear apart anything that isn't absolutely bulletproof. That's why I need you, Detective Watson said. I know the evidence is there, but I need someone who can outmaneuver his legal team and get justice for Zara. Don't miss this detail for a minute. Just then, Emma's phone rang with an incoming call. The caller ID displayed a name that made everyone in the room tense. Elias Rothschild. Emma looked at Zara and Detective Watson, both of whom nodded grimly. Emma pressed the speakerphone button and answered professionally. Emma Rodriguez Law Offices. Ms. Rodriguez, this is Elias Rothschild. His voice was smooth, cultured, with just a hint of menace underneath the polite exterior. I understand you're representing Miss Fontaine in some unfortunate misunderstanding regarding her recent accident. Emma kept her voice carefully professional and neutral. Mr. Rothschild, if you're calling about the attempted murder charges my client intends to file. Attempted murder? Rothschild's laugh was cold and humorless. Ms. Rodriguez, I think you'll find that Miss Fontaine is a troubled young woman with a documented history of drug abuse and mental instability. Her car accident was certainly regrettable, but hardly criminal in nature. Zara's face went white with anger at the blatant lies, but Emma gestured for her to remain silent. Mr. Rothschild, are you calling to threaten my client or intimidate a witness in an ongoing investigation? Not at all, counselor. I'm simply suggesting that some stories are better left untold, especially when they're based on the delusions of an unstable young woman seeking attention and money. I have a great deal of influence in this city, Miss Rodriguez. It would be unfortunate if your law practice suffered due to poor judgment in client selection. The threat was subtle but unmistakable. Emma felt her anger rising but kept her voice level. Everyone had learned the truth, but the real shock, after Rothschild hung up, Emma turned to Detective Watson with a grim smile. Please tell me you recorded that conversation.
Every word, Detective Watson replied, holding up a small recording device. Witness intimidation and threats against an officer of the court, but it's still not enough to build a murder case that will stick against someone with his resources. Emma leaned back in her chair, her mind racing through possibilities. What if we could get him to confess? Get him on record admitting to the murder attempt? How would we do that? Zara asked. Emma looked at the young woman thoughtfully. Zara, you said he's obsessed with you, that he sees you as his property. What if you agreed to meet with him, wore a wire and got him to incriminate himself? Zara paled visibly. I don't know if I'm strong enough to face him again. When I left him, I swore I'd never let him control me again. You wouldn't be alone, Emma assured her. Detective Watson and I would be nearby, listening to every word. And Zara, this might be the only way to stop him from trying to hurt you again. Men like Rothschild don't give up easily. Detective Watson nodded in agreement. If he thinks he's getting you back under his control, his guard might drop. Obsessed men like Rothschild often can't help but gloat about their power, and what they've done to maintain it. The voice on the phone was familiar, but 2 days later, after extensive preparation and safety planning, Zara made the crucial call to Rothschild from Emma's office, with both Emma and Detective Watson listening on headphones. Elias, Zara's voice was carefully crafted to sound vulnerable and uncertain. It's me, Zara. Zara, my darling. Rothschild's voice immediately warmed with what sounded like genuine relief and affection. I knew you'd come to your senses eventually. I've been waiting for your call. I made a terrible mistake, Elias. I miss you. I miss us. Of course you do, sweetheart. That boy could never give you what I can. You belong with me in the life I created for you. I want to see you, Elias. Can we meet, somewhere private where we can talk without interruption? Absolutely, my dear. Come to the mansion tonight at 8. We have so much to discuss, so much to rebuild between us. After ending the call, Zara looked terrified but determined. I can't believe I'm going to do this. Emma took her hand reassuringly. Zara, you're the bravest person I know. You survived a murder attempt, and you're still fighting for justice. We'll be right outside the entire time. The moment you feel unsafe, you say our code word Oregon, and we're coming in. Here's what no one expected. That evening, Zara arrived at Rothschild's sprawling Malibu mansion, wearing a nearly invisible wire device provided by LAPD's technical unit. Emma and Detective Watson sat in an unmarked surveillance van, parked just outside the property gates, listening to every word through high-quality headphones. Rothschild greeted Zara at the front door himself, dressed in an expensive silk shirt and tailored pants, holding a glass of champagne. His manner was warm and welcoming, as if nothing had happened between them. Zara, you look beautiful as always, even with those unfortunate injuries from your accident. His voice carried just a hint of satisfaction when he mentioned her injuries. Thank you for seeing me, Elias. I know I hurt you when I left. All is forgiven, my dear. Come, let's go out to the terrace. I've prepared your favorite dinner. As they walked through the opulent mansion, Rothschild kept up a steady stream of conversation about their past together, the trips they'd taken, the gifts he'd given her. But Emma noticed how he kept steering the conversation toward his ownership of Zara, his creation of her new life. I need to know something, Elias, Zara said carefully as they settled on the terrace overlooking the Pacific Ocean. My accident on Mulholland Drive. Did you have anything to do with what happened to me? There was a pause in the conversation. Emma and Detective Watson leaned closer to their headphones. Accident. Rothschild's voice took on a different tone, colder and more calculating. Zara, darling, sometimes fate has a way of intervening when people make poor choices that could hurt themselves and others. What do you mean by that? I mean that if you had stayed where you belonged, with someone who truly understood your value, none of this unfortunate business would have been necessary. Zara pressed further, following the script Emma had prepared. But the police said someone might have deliberately forced my car off the road. They said it might not have been an accident at all. Rothschild was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper, but the wire picked up every word. The police say many things, my dear. What matters is that you survived. You learned your lesson, and now you're back where you belong. Actions have consequences, Zara. Betrayal has consequences. In the van, Emma felt her pulse quicken. They were close, but they needed more. Emma quickly texted Zara through a secure app, asked about Wolf directly. Push him. But the twist that saved everyone, Zara checked her phone discreetly, and took a deep breath. Elias, the police mentioned a name during their investigation. Dante Wolf. Do you know who that is? The silence that followed was deafening. Emma could actually hear Rothschild's breathing change through the wire. Where did you hear that name, Zara? His voice was sharp now. Dangerous. The detectives mentioned it. They said he was arrested, and that he confessed to trying to kill me. They said you paid him $500,000. Those are very serious accusations, Zara. Accusations that could destroy lives and reputations. Are you wearing a wire? Emma's heart stopped. In the van, Detective Watson was already signaling for backup units to move in. I just need to know the truth, Elias. Did you pay Dante Wolf to kill me? Another long pause. Then Rothschild laughed, but there was no warmth in it whatsoever. You want the truth, my dear? Fine. Yes, I hired Wolf. Yes, I wanted you eliminated rather than let you embarrass me with that pathetic boy. If I couldn't have you, I was going to make sure no one could. But you survived, and now here you are, back where you belong. You actually tried to have me murdered? I tried to solve a problem, Zara. You were mine. I created you. I owned you, And when you betrayed me with that student, I decided it would be better for everyone if you simply disappeared. But fate brought you back to me, didn't it? The final twist that no one saw coming. Emma and Detective Watson burst through the front door of the mansion with a SWAT team just as Rothschild was reaching across the table towards Zara with what appeared to be menacing intent. Elias Rothschild, you're under arrest for attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder, Detective Watson announced as officers in tactical gear surrounded the terrace and handcuffed the billionaire. Rothschild's face contorted with rage and disbelief. You recorded me, you manipulative little. Yes, we recorded every single word, Emma said, stepping forward with a satisfied smile. Your confession to hiring Dante Wolf, your admission to attempted murder, and your threat to Zara just now, all of it admissible in court. As they led Rothschild away in handcuffs, he looked back at Zara with pure hatred burning in his eyes. This isn't over. I have the best lawyers money can buy, connections you can't imagine. I'll be out in hours, and this will all disappear. Emma stepped directly into his path, her voice cold and professional. Actually, Mr. Rothschild, with your full confession on tape and Detective Watson's evidence, I'd say you're looking at life in prison without the possibility of parole. Money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy your way out of attempted murder when you've confessed to it on a police recording. And Emma learned that sometimes the most dangerous enemies are those who believe love gives them the right to own another person. 6 months later, Emma sat in the packed courtroom of the Los Angeles Superior Court as the jury foreman stood to deliver their verdict. The trial had been a media sensation, with news crews from around the world covering the case of the billionaire who tried to murder his young girlfriend. We, the jury, find the defendant, Elias Rothschild, guilty on all charges: attempted murder in the first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, witness intimidation, and racketeering. The judge sentenced Rothschild to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Dante Wolf, in exchange for his full testimony against Rothschild, received a reduced sentence of 25 years, with the possibility of parole. After the trial, Zara approached Emma in the courthouse hallway. She looked completely transformed from the broken, frightened young woman who had walked into Emma's office months earlier. Now she appeared healthy, confident, and strong. I can't thank you enough, Emma. You literally gave me my life back. Emma smiled warmly. You gave yourself your life back, Zara. You have the courage to fight back against a man who thought he owned you. That took incredible bravery. What will you do now? Emma asked. Jasper and I are moving to New York next month. I got accepted to the Stella Adler Studio, a real acting school, not something bought with dirty money. And I'm starting a foundation to help young women who've been victims of financial abuse and manipulation. Emma nodded approvingly. That sounds absolutely perfect. And Emma knew that true justice wasn't just about punishment. It was about giving victims the power to reclaim their lives and help others do the same. Outside the courthouse, dozens of reporters and news cameras crowded around Emma, shouting questions about the case. Miss Rodriguez, how does it feel to have taken down one of the city's most powerful men? Emma looked directly into the cameras, her voice clear and strong. Power and money don't put anyone above the law. No matter how wealthy, no matter how connected, no one has the right to own another person, or to decide who lives or dies. Justice isn't for sale in this city. As she walked to her car, Emma's phone buzzed continuously, with new client inquiries and interview requests. Word was already spreading across the legal community and beyond. If Emma Rodriguez could take down a billionaire and make it stick, she could handle anything. She smiled as she got into her car. Tomorrow would bring new cases, new challenges, new opportunities to fight for justice and protect those who couldn't protect themselves. And she was absolutely ready for whatever came next.